on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Alex Jones here to tell you about how you can help spread liberty worldwide while also enjoying what I have found to be the best tasting 100% organic coffee on the planet. For more than a decade, my favorite coffee has come from the high mountains of southern Mexico, where the Chiapas farmers grow their unique shade-grown Arabica beans. We have now managed to secure these sought-after beans in a highly customized blend. Discover and try a bag of the Patriot Blend 100% organic coffee at InfoWarsLife.com. This coffee gives you a long, smooth pick-me-up for hours without the headaches and heartburn that so many other coffees give me personally. Hands down, this is my favorite coffee, and it's taken us years to secure connections directly to the Chiapas Mexican farmers. Drop by the site today, order a bag or two, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Available in original or with our immune support infusion blend. You will be supporting a free press, all the while enjoying a truly great-tasting cup of my favorite coffee. Available at InfoWarsLife.com.
A chemical spill contaminating the water supply in 9 West Virginia counties.
This year alone, over 300,000 people in West Virginia had their drinking water contaminated.
What are the health effects of having these drugs in our drinking water?
It's forced medical treatment without the consent of residents.
My friends, water filtration is one of the most basic actions you can take to protect you and your family from the harmful toxins and heavy metals in your tap water.
On average, the county says it sprays with the glyphosate at least once a week.
Few filters cut out the glyphosate that is found in water supplies worldwide. Remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, hydrofluorosilicic acid, sodium hexafluorosilicate.
Fluoride, it is in tea, it's in coffee, it's in water, it's in bread, it's in toothpaste.
It is our responsibility to protect our families. The establishment's not going to do it. It's time to take action. It's time to filter our water. Visit InfoWarsStore.com and use promo code WATER to get 10% off their entire family of incredible products. Or call toll-free 888-253-3139. From the water table to our soils to the atmosphere itself, our world is becoming more and more toxic each and every day. But it's not just the air outside that's toxic. Indoor air has been shown to have 2 to 5 times higher concentrations of pollutants than even outdoor air. And most Americans spend 90% of their time inside using toxic chemicals within their homes. There are more than 42 million smokers in the United States. Well over 1,000 types of mold and mildew linked to numerous conditions. And don't forget the fact that 6 million Americans live with pets they're allergic to as well. When I began to research these statistics, it was clear to me it was time to start cleansing my lungs in order to combat the toxic environment that we cannot escape, but that we can fight back against. Made with organic and wild cultivated herbs and manufactured in the USA, the new InfoWars Life Lung Cleanse is here in a convenient spray bottle that can be brought with you throughout any toxic environment. Now available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.
He's going the distance. He's going for speed. She's all alone in her time of need. Because he's racing and pacing and plotting the course. He's fighting and biting and riding on his horse.
Look, there's so much news going on, but I want to ask listeners.
Crashing through the lies and disinformation, it's Alex Jones.
I want to ask you, how do we crash through the lies and disinformation? How do we show people the bottom's already fallen out? The system is just setting up open tyranny everywhere. We have to expose it and call it out. And the public's waking up, and the military's waking up, and most police I talk to are waking up and know that things are going in a very dangerous direction. But are we going to wait till the globalists stage a terror attack and blame it on domestic groups? I don't want a civil war in this country, but we, the people, not Alex Jones, but we, the people, if attacked by the globalists, if a total authoritarian system unfolds and they try to arrest anybody that doesn't believe in man-made global warming or arrest anybody that doesn't want their kids taught how to be, sexualized, or anybody who doesn't want to be inoculated, or anybody that doesn't want their 11-year-old daughter taken away to have an abortion, it's going to cause a civil war because the globalists want that civil war. I'm trying to avert that by exposing that the Army and the Marines and the National Guard are training to cordon cities, are training to confiscate guns, are training to arrest political dissidents, are training for a takeover and admitting that their new enemy isn't al-Qaeda, that the corrupt federal government openly funds and runs. That's mainstream news now. I can't even believe that's mainstream news. They're now flipping it onto us. And I know I harp on this because it's happening. And if we expose it, it can be stopped. If we don't, they're going to bring it in and drop the hammer. I mean, my gosh, look at the cover of Drudge Report showing an illegal MS-13 person with a giant tattoo of Obama legalizing the illegals on his stomach. I mean, that is the type of stuff we're dealing with. Just a government totally mafioso, totally and completely lawless. And now Obama says he's looking at executive action to stop deportations. And when I read that, because I'd heard he might, you know, stop the deportations because it makes him look so bad to be, you know, sending back little kids or something. But no, he's going to stop it for felons, for everybody, and has been stopping it. And it just shows how, whether you're white, black, Hispanic, whatever you are, if you're a good person, if you care about freedom, if you care about liberty, you are being targeted, you are being demonized. But if you're a felon, an aggravated felon, a bank robber, a child molester, you're legalized by Obama. Now, I want to open the phones up and get your take just on the general corruption that we're seeing that's unfolding. The toll-free number to join us is 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. Again, 800-259-9231. And you've got the persecution of scientists getting fired, getting censored, who put out scientific reports that man-made global warming is a fraud, that the Earth's cooling. Or if you are Dinesh D'Souza and you make a film about Obama, you get arrested. I mean, or your Pop-Tart, you eat it, half of it looks like a gun, so the police are called. I mean, this is crazy level corruption, where aggravated felon child rapists are released, where bank robbers are released, but your child is suspended because people saw a gun in the Pop-Tart. It's like seeing a cloud above your house that looks like a gun, or a giraffe, and the police come. And look, they had troops in Latin America 50 years ago that wore masks and all the rest of it to terrorize people. And I saw a police chief in Baltimore a decade ago admit they wear these black uniforms and black masks to intimidate. And now there's a Daily Mail article, Rio Boco cop armed and ready for the World Cup. Elite troops carrying rifles, stun grenades, and combat knife will tackle any fan who causes trouble. See, now it's for the general public. And if you look at the article by Paul Joseph Watson, Rio Robocops resemble police from dystopian classic Brazil. It shows the exact uniforms of the dystopic secret police versus what they're now wearing. Well, that's because of the Soviet Union. They wore stuff like that. In fact, if you play the intro to Brazil, or it's close to the start where they cut a hole in the roof, come in, rendition the dad, we should make an intro promo with that and then cut it back and forth with what's happening in modern times and other dystopic films. What's that Robert De Niro one? The Handmaiden's Bride or something like that, where it's a dystopic future and they have public executions and black uniforms and all-seeing eye on television. We should have a video where we illustrate how it was dystopic then. In the past, this was seen as evil. North Korea was seen as evil. Now it's the new good. But this article goes on and on with these secret documents dealing with the Marine Corps training base and the information that was sent to us, where they train to take on the American people. And the preachers get on big power trips, a lot of them, to get approached by the FBI and by the CIA and to sign up to be part of the new brigades, you know, to take on the American people. And you know, there are domestic groups and they got to be dealt with. This is just so unspeakable, but it's actually happening. Then we've got some video of this and audio we're going to get to later. The day the ground erupted. Shocking moments. Syrian rebels blow up Army camp with 60 tons of explosives after digging tunnel under the base using tactic pioneered in World War I. So that's what the CIA and NATO is training them to do, is dig 500-plus yard tunnels under Army bases and blowing everyone up inside. In the 3+ year Al-Qaeda proxy war that America is openly running and funding. Simply amazing to see the video and the photo of that happening. There it is. Boom! Listeners have got to go up to Infowars.com. You can see that. Continuing here, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into something I told you about. I don't know, we had Derry Brownfield on the show many times. He died, what was it, last year? Was it 2 years ago now? Time really moves fast, but he was a longtime big cattleman up in Missouri and had a big syndicated radio show, one of the first in the country. Even back before they really had talk radio, he did the Farm and Ranch Report and would talk about what was happening. And he pointed out that you have record beef prices in the last decade, but record bankruptcy for cattle ranchers. And almost everyone I know is getting out of cattle ranching because they've changed the tax rules, gotten rid of write-offs, where you cannot make a living doing it. Everyone I pretty much know who's a small-time rancher with 20 head, 100 head, 200 head, more of a hobby rancher, they do it because you get a little tax write-off on your property. Because if you don't have cattle on your property, you can't pay the property tax. Let's say you put beehives on it, and then you sell it to a local honey gatherer. Let's say you got 100 boxes on your property. You might get $3,000 or $4,000 in a year, if you're lucky. But you got to give medicine to the bees. You got to check them. You got to, I mean, it's a lot of work, and you get $3,000 or $4,000. And then let's say you got 100 head of cattle. You got to keep the fences up. They get out sometimes. You got to give them the vaccinations, veterinary bills, all of it. All that does is lets you keep your 500 acres it takes to have 100 cows, depending on the type of grassland. Then you still got to feed them during the winter. And then maybe you sell, you know, 10, 15, 20 cows a year. And let's say you sell them for $1,000 a piece or whatever. They then get sold off, and there's no more what you'd call real cattle auctions. There's no real cattle market. So the big distributors get them. They send them to meatpacking plants. They've shut down all the little meatpacking plants. They jack up the prices super high on the consumer. So you're paying $30 for a ribeye at a decent steakhouse, $40, $50 at a fancy one. You go to the discount places, $20 for a thinner ribeye. That ribeye at that steakhouse just 10 years ago was $10. It's now $20. The fancy steakhouse, I remember at a steakhouse just 10 years ago thinking a $25 steak was too much. Nothing's $25 at a nice steakhouse now. You go to some steakhouses, it's $75 for a prime cut. Sorry, my mouth's trying to water here, excuse me. I remember 10 years ago, I could take the family and get a Chateaubriand, which is basically like a big long cut of filet mignon, 5 or 6 cuts. It'd be $75, $50. Now it's $150. Ladies and gentlemen, let me explain the New World Order. It's a perfect illustration. The cattle ranchers go bankrupt because the economy is rigged and actuaried where you can't make it. My dad got word 5 years ago, we're getting rid of hobby farming and ranching write-off. We don't care if it's still on the books as a law. You can't do that. The IRS sent him letters, and he went to his accountant, or we're going to retroactively charge you all this money with penalty and interest. And my dad looked at the books and said, but if I stop cattle ranching, then we can't pay the property taxes. So he continues to cattle ranch, I guess about 100 head, with my uncle. Even though it loses money coming and going, he loses less money than he would if he quit. I'm going to explain that again. My father doesn't want to sell